Hi guys, it's about 10 minutes before 9 Eastern, it's about 10 minutes before 8 Central on this Monday, August 20th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Well, we have a few systems out in the tropics, so this video will be purely tropical. I'm going to just talk about the tropics and some of my ideas about one of the systems here that could potentially affect the East Coast. My next video will be on just the weather across the country. We won't really talk much about the tropics. The only thing that would be tropical is if one of the systems were to hit, where would the rain be? That would be, or maybe the winds or something. But that would be the only thing. It would be purely weather. Across the country here. So that is what's going on. So to start off here, we have Gordon. Gordon, I'm really not concerned about. He is right now what we would call subtropical. Doesn't have many tropical characteristics. He is really weakening rapidly. He's just really becoming practically nothing here. His winds are 45 miles an hour. He has decreased 40 miles an hour since yesterday. His pressure is starting to increase, which means it's really starting to it's not deepening or not strengthening at all, and his movement is slowing down a bit. So he's really encountering some it sounds like a lot of shear, and it sounds like there's a lot of probably colder waters, as well as he's fairly high in latitude as well. So he's really starting to get eaten up here, and it's really not favorable development for Gordon at this particular point. The only concern I would have is maybe a rain event for portions of Europe, but there's even still there's several models that are indicating that this thing will just dissipate before it hits Europe, or it'll just move south and dissipate, maybe hit northern portions of Africa, but it's just, it won't be anything much. I mean, the only thing that would be bad would be maybe a big rain event, but even that I'm not sure about. Then we have, in the Atlantic at this particular point, this is Invest number 94, this is Invest number 95, and this is Invest number 96. Okay, Invest, all that means is it's an area of low pressure that could become tropical. That's all it means, or an area of low pressure that could become tropical. This area I'm not highly concerned about becoming named. However, I am concerned about it because it could affect the Gulf Coast, okay, with some heavy rain. But other than that, I'm not really thinking, because it's just so close to land at this particular point. Like I said, the worst that would happen is it would become a tropical depression, but even that I'm a little skeptical on. So there's not a lot I'm not concerned highly about this particular system. So, I mean, that's that one. Then we have 94 and 96. Now you're looking at this and saying, why is this 96? Well, this one popped up before this one did. This area here I'm very concerned about, and that's what the majority of my video will be talking about. Number 96, at this particular point, Invest number 96 looks like it could possibly work its way in this direction. But at this particular point, I really got to start seeing some more models before I can really start naming where this thing will be going and what it will be doing and how strong it will be. I haven't seen too many models on it out yet, so I'll give you more information on that most likely tomorrow. If it's still a concern, which I imagine it will be. Now this one, this could become quite a concern somewhere in the United States. There's more models indicating that it could hit the East Coast, but again, I'm trying to be careful here because there's still a couple models, and I know it's just a couple, But remember, with tropical depression number 7, there was just a few that were saying it was going to move west. I mean, I'm trying to be careful. And yes, there's a lot of models that are saying that this thing will be going towards the East Coast. And I do believe it will be, but there's still that part of me that doesn't want to jump to conclusions right away. I really want to have my facts down first before I get into anything here. So, here is the models from earlier this afternoon, and I will show you that there is a little bit of a difference from earlier this afternoon and now. Now, before we get into that, you see this up here, and you're like, what? This was out in 2006? No, doesn't mean 2006. This is actually the day, which is the 20th, and then the time, which is 06, and this is what we call Z time. You can look it up on Google. It's generally used in meteorology with models, and also it's used, I think some mariners use it as well. It's a more scientific time. It's the Greenwich. It's generally based on the Greenwich time, or it's what we call the UTC time. It's international more. It's really the time at I believe it's the time at the international date line. So what you can do is you can there's a chart that they have online. If you look up in Google Z time conversion, it'll show you Z time. So let's say 6Z, and it will tell you what the time would be: Eastern, Central, Pacific, or Mountain. It'll give you the time for here in the United States. So, but overall, this is the models from early this afternoon, and or early this morning, I believe, sometime then. And you can see that earlier today, there were 3 models that were saying that there were actually 4 that were saying that this thing would be moving due west, or generally in a westerly direction. This one here, this yellow one, which you could barely see, this orange one, and then this kind of pinkish color, rose color. So these 4 models had it turning in a westerly direction. And then you had 3 other models. This one here, this tan one, this red one, and then this green one had it moving in a northwesterly direction. So 4 models saying it was moving west, 3 models saying it's going to move northwest. That's that's not a very good consensus here from earlier today. So I probably would have said something like what I said yesterday. Could hit the East Coast, but at this time it looks like there's a little bit more of a chance that it could hit the Gulf Coast, but that would have been from earlier today. Now, if you look at the models from, and actually let's look at the more sophisticated models. These have it moving more in a northwesterly direction. However, most of the models actually have it pointing either towards the Gulf Coast or southern Florida. This model here has it moving more towards the southeast. Okay, so that's what that was from earlier today, and these are the more sophisticated models. Now, this white line up here is the track that Gordon took. Okay, if you're just wondering. And then this white line right here is the track that Invest number 94 has taken through its lifespan so far. Now we're going to look at what the models are saying currently. Now, you see this out here. This is not what Invest number 94 is going to take. This is actually the possible track that Invest number 96 could take. So don't get that confused. And this is the possibility that number 96. So again, like I said, I will give you more information because this is really the first of the models that I've seen out for number 96. I'll give you more information tomorrow on number 96. Now, for number 94, let's take a check on what could possibly be happening here. With that, well, you have this green one that's saying it's going to move northwest. you have this red one, you have this pink one, you have this tan, and then you have this blue right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 models indicating that this could be moving in a somewhat in a northwesterly direction. Then you have this orange model, and it actually shows that it could hit into portions of Alabama or Louisiana, like near New Orleans, something like that. Or you have this tan, this kind of rose pink color, and then this yellow color that says it's going to move west. Yeah, only three models here are indicating that. So yes, there is a slight possibility, but I do believe at this time that there's more models than not that are showing that this thing will be moving in a northwesterly direction towards the southeast. But there's still a chance that this could hit the Gulf Coast or Mexico. Trying to be careful. Now, here's the GFS ensembles. And again, most of them are at this point saying that this thing will be moving in a northwesterly direction towards the southeast and the east coast. So yes, that's another factor, but not my only factor. Mostly because of this, there's more models now that are saying that this will be moving towards the east coast. So that's some very encouraging news that you're starting to see a little bit more of a consensus here. Now, these are the intensity models here. And at this particular time, the strongest it could be is maybe a Category 3 hurricane, and that's what only one model is saying. So it's possible. We'll have to see what happens through time. But overall, I believe that there's more of a likelihood that this will become closer along the lines of a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane. But it could continue to strengthen after that, so we have to see what happens. It's also slightly possible that this could remain a tropical storm or weaken, but that, and again, that's what happened with Tropical Depression number 7, so we're going to just have to see what happens through time and just be very careful and sort of make sure we, don't really jump to conclusions too fast. And then this is the GFS ensemble intensity forecasts here, and I'm not too fond of them or of this because they tend to really extremely underdo the forecasts here. Even when a storm system is at a specific, like I said yesterday, they had Gordon at 60 knots when it really was when it was really closer to 75 knots. So I don't trust the GFS ensemble model intensity forecasts just because it sometimes can be a little iffy. But again, it's better for general trends, and you can see the general trend is that it will be intensifying, and that there's even still some models that indicate that this could become a hurricane through time. So I think there's an overall consensus of what's going to happen here. So tomorrow I'm going to start making my own tracks on what's going to happen with this particular system, and we'll sort of start really getting down to it and getting into some pretty interesting details here. Also, I'll start talking a little bit more about Invest number 96 tomorrow as well, once I get more information and look at some more models on that. So that's what's going on across in the tropics here. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll be back tomorrow with another update on the tropics. Take care, everyone.